For decades, Baltimore was a champion's home, where playoff heroes emerged yearly. But the city and its fans have been silent for a generation, until now. A new team has returned Baltimore to the postseason, and these Ravens have their own sense of history. Ray Lewis leads a ferocious defense hell-bent on becoming one of the game's greatest ever. The Denver Broncos of Mike Shanahan come to town with the AFC's #1 offense and weapons everywhere. 1,000-yard seasons by receivers Ed McCaffrey and Rod Smith, as well as rookie running back Mike Anderson. The playoffs are back in Baltimore today. Wild Card Weekend in the National Football League continues here in Baltimore on a sunny Sunday afternoon. Two teams moved on in the playoffs yesterday. Two more will advance today. And here at PSI Net Stadium, the 12-4 Baltimore Ravens make the first postseason appearance in their 5-year history, hosting the 11-5 Denver Broncos. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Baltimore. Greg Gumbel along with Phil Simms. These Denver Broncos go into the action today with Gus Frerotte as their starting quarterback, while Brian Griese continues to rest his injured shoulder. What does Gus Frerotte bring to the dance?
Well, what Gus Ferrotte's bring, even though he's the backup quarterback, he has started 6 games for the Denver Broncos this year. We talked to Mike Shanahan last night. He says Gus Frerotte has a strong arm, and he will need that strong arm here in the cold weather and the wind.
Now the task facing Frerotte and the Broncos, a record-setting Baltimore defense that allowed 165 points. That's a new mark in the NFL for a 16-game season, and they are led by a terrific middle linebacker.
Well, they got a lot of good players in that defense, but nobody's better than Ray Lewis, the middle linebacker. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, and most of all, he is a terrific tackler. That's why Baltimore's defense is really good.
70,000 fans on here, adding to a terrific playoff atmosphere that's been absent for 23 years. Ray Lewis, the man in the middle, is ready.
We in my house. We in our house. Who else this is? This is our house. This is our house. We earn respect today. We earn respect today, baby. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. Game time.
The city of Baltimore this weekend dodged the snowstorm that swept through the Northeast and has left the streets and PSI Net Stadium clear for the first NFL playoff game in this city since Christmas Eve 1977. It is a cool, crisp 22 degrees, the wind chill down to 5. Working the sidelines with us, as always, Armin Katayan, and he is with Baltimore head coach Brian Billick. Armin.
Coach, first playoff game in this city in 23 years. Your first as a head coach, your sense of emotion right now.
Well, for the fans, you can tell there's a lot of feeling. For us, for me right now, it's more about focus.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck.
All right, Armin, thank you. The Baltimore Ravens have won the toss, and they have elected to receive. The fans waving the Talon towels that have been distributed prior to the game today. You're always talking about playoff atmosphere, Phil. This is it.
Greg, I said to you as we were waiting for the come on air, I said this is playoff atmosphere. The fans making a lot of noise. You see the towels, and it was really exciting just to listen to Baltimore get introduced to the crowd.
Corey Harris, number 45, Priest Holmes, number 33, set to receive. It's a low kick, picked off at about the 24-yard line and brought back by Ben Coates just across the 30. This is the 9th straight start at quarterback for Trent Dilfer. He replaced Tony Banks as the starter in late October, and as the Ravens starting quarterback, he has gone 7-1 as you look at his numbers.
Well, Trent Dilfer going into the win right now. We talked to him on Friday, or on Thursday, on Friday I should say, and he says, I do have trouble throwing into the wind, and because it's cold, he has a tough time gripping the football.
On the ground with Jamal Lewis. to about the 35, maybe across the 35 to the 36. It'll be 2nd and 6, the offensive line.
You look at Baltimore's offensive line, left tackle Jonathan Ogden at 6'8". He is their best lineman.
In the backfield, a fine rookie running back out of Tennessee, Jamal Lewis, with blow-em-up Sam Gash at fullback. Kadri Ismail, Patrick Johnson, the wideouts. Tight end Shannon Sharp, the ex-Bronco, is the team's leading receiver. Matt Cavanaugh, the Ravens offensive coordinator, looks on 2nd and 6. Lewis again, running room and more across the 45, across midfield, and into Denver territory for a first down. Ray Crockett and Eric Brown converge for the stop.
Well, the one thing Denver does not want to see is the power running game by Baltimore's offense.
The Denver defensive line, Broncos number 3 in the league in sacks. Tanavasa, Traylor Price, and Kavika Pittman up front.
You look at the linebackers, interesting matchup. Bill Romanowski will go against his old teammate Shannon Sharp at tight end.
The corners, Jimmy Spencer and Terrell Buckley. The safeties, Billy Jenkins and Eric Brown. The ball just across midfield into Denver territory. First down, Baltimore. Lewis again. And a big hit as he crossed the line of scrimmage, and pickup of about a yard. And it'll be 2nd and 9. Keith Traylor and Trevor Price converging at the point of attack.
Well, the one thing is you look at Jamal Lewis here, had a terrific first year, rookie. And I talked to Bill Romanowski yesterday, and he says the one thing, if you let this guy run straight ahead, he's so big and strong, he can, that's how he gets all his yards. What you want to do, make him hesitate, shuffle his feet. He's not very good side to side. That's when you can really stop him.
Dilfer to throw his first ball of the day. Sideline, incomplete, overthrow, penalty marker is down. Kadri Ismail, his intended receiver. Our referee today is Larry Nemmers, and it's going to go against the Broncos.
Illegal hands on the defense, number 39. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Ray Crockett. Dilfer throwing against the worst pass defense in the National Football League. The Broncos come in ranked number 31 in the NFL.
Well, Greg, they'd like to challenge these corners. So far today, Denver's defense, they are putting everybody up there to stop the run. They're going to make Ray Crockett and Terrell Buckley cover their guys with no help, because they got to keep everybody inside to stop Baltimore's running game.
First down, Ravens at the Broncos' 43.5-yard line. Double tight ends in for the Ravens, and they'll keep it on the ground with Jamal Lewis again. Kicks the right side, close to the 40-yard line. Trevor Price for the stop after a 3-yard gain. It'll be 2nd and 7.
Now you look at this Denver defense, what do they want to do today? They want to come in here. Now the wind is into Baltimore's face, so you got to play run. That's what they're going to do. Going into the wind, you got to be more conservative on offense, and they want to get this game. There's Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator. They want to slow Baltimore's running game down enough where they make Trent Dilfer throw it, and if they think if he throws it often enough, he'll turn the football over.
Lewis again, nowhere to go on the left side this time, and he is piled up on at about the 43, 42-yard line. Trevor Price and Tanavasa in on the stop. Loss of a yard on the play will make it 3rd and 8.
Now, Greg, you look at the other side, and we talked to Brian Billick and a lot of the players on Friday, and what did they say? Denver gambles so much on defense, we got to make them pay. So that means you throw the football down the field, you try to make your wide receivers make some of those catches, get them down, make those big plays, but harder to do when the conditions are tough.
3rd and 8. 4 wide receivers for the Ravens, and Dilfer from the shotgun. Throws over the middle, his hand is hit, incomplete. It falls, and Bill Romanowski had an interception all lined up before it floated away.
It was right to him. One of his teammates knocked it down. But Trent Dilfer, Baltimore's offensive line is not a very good pass protecting team. Trent Dilfer gets hit, Kavika Pittman gets inside, and watch it fly up in the air. Bill Romanowski's got it. Wow, looks like the wind took it from him. Hit. I thought it was tipped.
Kyle Richardson will kick it away for the Ravens. And it's blocked and rolling and fallen upon by the Broncos at about their own 36-yard line. So the big break of the day, the first one goes to the Denver Broncos. Keith Burns in for the block.
Watch Keith Burns and how he blocks this punt. Real quick, comes around the block. Special teams play so important, and look how excited he gets. And Terrell Davis, if you can't play, be a good cheerleader.
First down for the Broncos. Farrat keeps, throws out of the backfield as Howard Griffin, and it falls incomplete. And right with him was number 55, Jamie Sharper, the linebacker. Brian Greasy's shoulder still iffy. Shanahan goes with 7-year veteran Gus Farrat. 4-2 as a starter this season, 9 touchdown passes and 8 interceptions.
Well, Gus Farrat's done a good job with this offense. Coming as a free agent during the offseason, he's learned it, had 6 starts. You look at Brian Greasy on the sideline.
2nd and 10. Quick drop, throws, popped up into the air and intercepted. Intercepted by Ray Lewis.
I'm really surprised the way Denver starts the football game. They talked about we want to come out, we want to be physical, and the one thing we got to avoid is turnovers. So that tells me be safe, be conservative early. And Gus Farrat, what happens is the cold football, the wind, look at it, the ball slides, it goes to the inside. Ed McCaffrey cannot get his hands on it. And Ray Lewis makes the interception.
Ray Lewis, 2 interceptions on the season. Picks one off here and gives the ball right back to the Ravens. The right side, Lewis across the 35 to about the 33-yard line. Tanavasa with the tackle.
I could tell, going back to Denver's offense, the very first play when Gus Farrat rolled out, tried to throw that little short pass, the ball got away from him on about a 5-yard pass. So you drop back and you think you're going to throw it to the sidelines today with accuracy and good timing, it is not going to happen.
2nd and 4. Lewis again, left side. And there isn't much secret as to how the Ravens are going to attack these Denver Broncos today, is there?
No, there's not. And I tell you, Greg, you know, it's always interesting to go to sites and you get to see players in person and your first reaction. And what was it? We were on the sideline on Friday, and Jamal Lewis takes a couple handoffs and runs with it, and we turn and look at each other and go, wow. You know, the size is the first thing that jumps out at you, and of course he has tremendous speed, and that speed allows him to run with terrific power. 7
out of the 8 offensive plays have been on the ground. Dilfer now from the shotgun. On 3rd and 2, he throws sideline. It's complete, and that should be enough for a first down to the tight end, Shannon Sharp.
Well, I know if I was this Baltimore offense, well, this crowd's getting excited about everything. But Trent Dilfer stands in there and does a good job taking the blitz. Here comes the blitz. Now, what's the safety late? Not good timing. He's too late. It allows Trent Dilfer to get the football off, but watch Shannon Sharp. But I was going to say, in these conditions, against a team that blitzes, I would look for Shannon Sharp first if I was the quarterback.
And Sharp in motion. Dilfer throws this side. Incomplete on the sideline, and a marker is down. In the secondary, the pass intended for Qadry Ismail.
This might be against the offense. It is.
The call goes against the Ravens and Ismail, and it'll back them up.
Not, you know, Greg,
offensive pass interference, number 87, 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
As you hear Larry Nimmers talk, you can hear the wind blowing through his mic. Oh, yes, and Qadry Ismail gets both hands extended. Watch him as he comes down the field. Both hands come out. But a really nice throw by Trent Dilfer, but you could see it moving from where we are, and because of the cold weather too, makes it a tough catch.
So now it's a 1st and 20. Lewis corrals the football just across the 40 to about the 39 or the 38-yard line, and Phil talked about, you can hear the wind gusting through Larry Nimmer's microphone. It is gusting all around, through, and over PSI Net Stadium. Those flags are at the very top of the stadium on the far side of the field.
Well, we did. We walked down the field today, and I thought, no, it's not too bad. And after about 2 minutes, I go, okay, I've had enough. Let's get out of here. It was breezy. It was cold. And Armin Katayan, who was down on the field before the game, Matt Stover, the place kicker for Baltimore, said it's the worst wind he has seen here in the stadium since they've opened it.
Johnson and Ismail, the wide receivers, play fake. Dilfer throws far side, has his man complete. That's Ismail. And Ismail fighting for yardage across the 35 to about the 33-yard line.
Well, it's another blitz by the Denver Broncos. Well, you could hear me say that about 20 times this game. Ray Crockett has picked up. That's why Qadri Ismail is so wide open on the outside. And Eric Brown, you better hold on, because there is nobody behind you to make the tackle.
So it is 3rd and 16.
There's Greg Robinson. It's kind of easy to be the defensive coordinator for the Broncos now. Just send them all and be aggressive.
Priest Holmes in the backfield. Dilfer rolls, has a ball pop up into the air and floats out of bounds, incomplete. Number 93, Trevor Price, applying the pressure.
Now, you're seeing a couple things. The weather, and already Trent Dilfer has thrown the football every time he has been hit, knocked to the ground, or his arm has been hit where the football has gone up in the air. I see him on the sideline watching. Trevor Price, well, your arm's coming forward. He's coming at you. That is a tremendous force.
Kyle Richardson, the Baltimore punter, led the NFL with 35 punts inside the 20-yard line. The second straight year he's led the league in that department. Fair catch called for. And the Ravens are going to down this one inside the 10-yard line. Another notch on Kyle Richardson's belt. 30-yard punt, no return, and the pushing and shoving. Oh, it's a family gathering. Happy New Year. Nice look at this beautiful stadium here in Baltimore, and 70,000 fans who are yelling and have been yelling since the first moments the Ravens took the field. First down for the Broncos from their own 7. Anderson, right side, penalty markers fly. Here's Larry Nemmers.
And prior to the snap, ball start, the left tackle. Half the distance to the goal, still first down.
Well, the Denver offensive line, Phil.
Well, you look at that offensive line, the best guy, Tom Nalen, number 66 at center.
In the backfield, 1,500-yard rusher Mike Anderson, the rookie out of Utah. Wide receivers Rod Smith and Ed McCaffrey had outstanding seasons. 1st and 13. Anderson out to about the 9-yard line. The Baltimore defensive line, outstanding front 4 veterans. Rob Burnett, Sam Adams, Tony Siragusa, Michael McCrary.
And you look at the linebackers, they're very fast. Number 52, Ray Lewis. A lot of people think he's the best defensive player in the NFL.
The cornerbacks, Dwayne Starks and Chris McAllister. The safeties, Kim Herring and longtime standout Rod Woodson in his 14th season, on his way to his 9th Pro Bowl. There's defensive coordinator Marvin Lewis. Across the 10 to about the 14-yard line is Mike Anderson, and Ray Lewis in on the stop.
Well, I think the question of Ray Lewis today is not how many tackles he's going to make, but let's watch him as we go through the game. How many times has he even blocked? Because he has such terrific defensive linemen in front of him. Offensive linemen can't get past him to get to him, and that's one of the reasons why he makes so many tackles.
The wonderfully blunt Tony Siragusa said, nobody's getting past me. If they're looking like they're getting past me, I'm going to grab them. 3rd and 3. The pitch for Anderson, right side, trying to cut inside of a block. He doesn't get there, though. Ray Lewis, another play on defense. Now, the point that we made about blocking the the offensive people before they get to Ray Lewis. He makes a lot of plays because of that.
That's right. Hard to get that time. He gets past one of the offensive linemen. Watch how he avoids it. They try to cut him. He gets around, and we said in the opening, he is a terrific tackler.
Tom Ruin will kick it away. Number 84, Jermaine Lewis, who returned 2 punts for touchdowns against the New York Jets last week. This one drives Lewis back to his own 25-yard line. And he's dropped at the 29-yard line. Fine special teams tackle by Jason Suttle. Meanwhile, number 52, the Ravens have him going early, and that's bad news for any offense. First down for the Ravens from their own 29-yard line. Dilfer and the Ravens start with the double tight end setup. And the give is to Lewis, and Lewis across the 30 to the 31-yard line. During the last change of possession, Trent Dilfer was on the sideline working his right elbow from that hit. When it happened and we saw the replay, I said, ow, Phil, and then you said during the timeout there's good reason to say ow.
Oh, yeah, just think about it. Your arm is going forward. Somebody slapped you across the forearm coming from the other way, and that's how a lot of arm injuries happen to quarterbacks, and he was trying to warm up, stay loose on the sideline, and cold weather's not going to help it much either.
2nd and 7 from the 31. Lewis tries to cut it back. John Mobley, Keith Traylor with the stop. No gain. It'll be 3rd and 7.
Now, you heard me say early, Denver, if you have 7 guys to block a running play, Denver is going to put 8 defensive guys up there. And we said that to Brian Billick, well, when most teams do that, you throw the football. And he goes, no, but we won't. And he just said, look, we're going to run it because we have to. And that's what we are. And sometimes the circumstances are tough, but you just got to get it done. And that's why you see Baltimore's offense being very conservative.
Priest Holmes, 1 of 4 wide receivers. Tried to get out on a pattern, couldn't get there. The pass incomplete, intended for Ishmael on a quick slant, and the Ravens will have to kick it away, and the defensive battle continues.
Well, almost today, as you watch the game, if you don't turn it over, it's a victory. Just try to get it there and punt it and see what the other team can do.
This Baltimore defense had 49 takeaways this season, and that was number 1 in the NFL. Richardson's kick bounces, picked up by O'Neal. O'Neal nowhere to go. Spins out of trouble, comes up the sideline, and goes out of bounds. We are still scoreless in the first quarter. 3:55 to play. We'll come back to Baltimore right after this. We invite you to log on to NFL.com and see what Ravens head coach Brian Billick had to say in his weekly NFL.com diary. He had plenty to say to us. Boy, he's excited about his team and excited to be in these playoffs. 5 wide receivers for the Broncos. Farrat and bat it down over the middle. Let's go down to Armin Katayan. Armin.
Thanks, Greg. What we heard all week long from these two teams, that this game would basically break down into a war of wills. Ray Lewis telling us the greatness of his defense is they impose their will on the other team. The way that they tackle, saying in essence, you're not going to get 100 yards on us. Tony Jones of Denver saying we would not be intimidated, and right now, guys, we've got a heavyweight fight. Back to you.
All right, Armin, thank you. 2nd and 10. Farrat lost the football, has to fall on it, and he has fallen upon back at the 24-yard line.
Well, you know, we just listened to Armin Katayan, and that's what surprises me about what Denver is doing at the start of this football game. Watch Gus Farrat fumbles a snap, tries to pick it up, loses a few more yards, but finally, smart job, get on top of it. Because talking to the Broncos, the one thing that I took out of the meetings with them, they weren't going to try to be too fancy. They were going to come in here and try to slug it out with Baltimore, because when you get fancy against this defense, you will make mistakes and lose the game.
We have seen a couple of instances of players almost losing the handle on the football today. On that one, Farrat lost 13 yards, and when we come back with 3:20 to play in the first quarter, Farrat will be facing a 3rd and 23. You get an idea of just how blustery a day it is here in Baltimore. A look at the flags atop the stadium. 5 wide receivers for the Broncos on 3rd and 23. And they'll pitch now to Rod Smith. Smith, right side, across the 30, out to about the 32-yard line. Not nearly enough for a first down, a gain of 7, and they'll have to kick it away.
Yeah, it's a different look. Rod Smith in the backfield. Denver playing some field position. 5 wide receivers, put him back there. Just try to pick up a few extra yards and give a little more speed to the running back when you put him back there.
Jermaine Lewis deep once again for the kick from Tom Ruin. Barely got it away. Lewis, fair catch ball, and makes the catch at the 25-yard line. Ravens came close on this punt, Phil.
You know, the big thing here is that the punters, Billy Davis almost gets the block, but the snap from the center, the ball moved. Did you see the football move once he dropped it? That's why it's tough to catch it and to try to get that football placed on your foot the right way.
Ravens from their own 25, Dilfer to throw. Has time, rolls now, throws over the middle, has his man across the 35 to the 37-yard line. Shannon Sharp, that's enough for a first down.
Nice job by Trent Dilfer buying time. Moved around just in the pocket just enough. Watch Shannon Sharp as he goes down the field. And, you know, really, he's so experienced, knows what to do. He moved just enough where Trent Dilfer could spot him, and it's a nice, easy throw over the middle to the tight end.
We were wondering if we were going to hear anything inflammatory out of Shannon Sharp this week. He had nothing but nice things to say about the Broncos and his ex-teammates. On first down, straight ahead, big hole up the middle for Jamal Lewis, who almost lost the football when it first got to him.
Well, the one thing, the way the Broncos play defense, if Jamal Lewis can get past that first wave of tacklers, there is nobody behind him. Oh, nice catch of getting the football back. But look, there's no defenders past Harold Hasselback once he makes the tackle.
Jamal Lewis, 11 carries, 40 yards now as the Ravens look at a 2nd and 4. Lewis again. And Lewis is stopped shy of the 45-yard line.
You know, the one thing, everybody at home, you saw the flags blowing at the top of the stadium. You see the wind, and, you know, you hear this phrase all the time about quarterbacks managing the game, and look at that wind. That's the worst thing you can see if you're a quarterback or a punter when you come out to warm up. But you got to know, I used to see it when I would run out Giant Stadium. I just go, well, it's going to be another day of bad quarterback play. Here we go. Because it's just going to be tough, and you just got to be extremely careful what you do. That's the most important thing.
Coming around is Jermaine Lewis. Lewis trying to cut inside and has enough for the first down up to midfield. Pickup of 6 on the play, first down Baltimore.
That's a nice play by Brian Billick. A different look for the offense. Denver's defense, if not, it's like a reverse. Good timing by Jermaine Lewis. Catches the defense off guard just enough. All you're trying to do is get a few yards, get that first down.
And it appears that time will expire here in the first quarter before another play is snapped. As you take a look at Jermaine Lewis, who just destroyed the New York Jets last week with 2 huge punt returns. Final second of the first quarter, and we have come to the end of the first quarter of play here at PSI Net Stadium. The Broncos and the Ravens are scoreless in a defensive battle, and we're back to Baltimore right after this. Back for the start of the second quarter. Baltimore looks to go the other way. And from midfield, Dilfer throws complete. Kadri Ismail to the 35-yard line and a first down. 15-yard pickup on the play.
Well, Trent Dilfer's going to find out it's a lot easier throwing downwind on days like this. But look outside, play action fake, nobody on the inside. Kadri Ismail one-on-one with Ray Crockett. Doesn't have to worry about catching the football, somebody on the inside making that tackle, because he can see when he lines up, There's nobody out there except him and Ray Crocker.
Jamal Lewis, 42 yards rushing, has done his share to soften up that defense. Left side, Lewis to about the 33. We want to remind you, coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report, Jim Nantz, Mike Ditka, Randy Cross have first half analysis. And we'll talk with Miami head coach Dave Wannstedt. His Dolphins are headed for Oakland for Saturday's AFC divisional playoff game. It's coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report.
We talked to Trent Dilfer on Friday, and we were talking about the wide receivers in the passing game. And he says, oh, my wide receivers, they're mad. They hate me because the media's on them. I don't throw the football to them enough. And he says, that's okay. I like them being mad.
Dilfer right up the middle and back to the line of scrimmage.
And you know what? He's right. Sometimes when players are mad, you know, all week long they pay attention to everything they want to do, and they come out, they're very focused on their job for the day, and it makes them execute better. But they are definitely looking for some big passing plays against this gambling defense of the Broncos. Haven't seen him down the field yet, though.
Trent Dilfer told us cold weather makes him throw the football with a lot more touch.
Well, because you can't get a good enough grip on it to throw it as hard as you want, so you find a way to survive, and that means throw it softer and anticipate a little more.
Dilfer going to throw it this side. Ishmael has the ball 25 to about the 21-yard line, and that's enough for another first down. 9 yards on the play, and Baltimore now into the red zone.
Well, I don't know how much touch that one had on it, Greg. You could hear it from up here in the sound down on the sideline as it hits the shoulder pads of Ismail, and nice job of catching it and getting a few extra yards.
Ismail 3 catches now for 28 yards, and they're still about a yard outside of the red zone as you look at Qadri Ismail in his 8th season out of Syracuse. Lewis and Gash behind Dilfer. Lewis looking for a hole on the left side and finds it. 10, 5. Did he get there? No. Just out of bounds at about the 1-yard line. Romanowski and Kavika Pittman knocked him out of bounds after a 20-yard pickup. It'll be first and goal.
Well, Bill Romanowski was right when he was talking about Jamal Lewis. If you don't make him stutter step in the backfield, watch it. He just takes it, cut right up inside. Jonathan Ogden, nice block down the field, and gets inside the 2-yard line.
Jamal Lewis coming into this game, 309 carries, more than 1,300 yards. And a team record carrying the ball on the ground. Up and over to the goal line. Nope, we are now a touchdown call. From the far side comes the touchdown, and the Ravens are in the lead. Well, what else do we know about Jamal Lewis? Not only is he fast, he can elevate.
There's no question, Greg. This guy has it all. He has the speed, the power. He's tough. He wants to be a great player. He's a hard worker. And we saw most of those attributes on that drive.
Matt Stover with the extra point. It's good. 11:43 to play in the first half. The Ravens, behind Jamal Lewis's touchdown run, take the lead. Jermaine Lewis on the left, Jamal Lewis, who scored the touchdown on the right, and we said he got up in the air. Boy, did he ever, Phil. And now the Broncos down 7-0, 11:43 to play in the first half, and it is so gusty that they're going to hold the football for Matt Stover on this kickoff. Stover, Pro Bowl kicker, headed to the Pro Bowl, his first. His 35 field goals led the NFL this season. And it sails into the end zone, and O'Neal will not run it out. Let's go back to that touchdown run by Jamal Lewis.
Well, a couple things to look at. Sam Gass, the lead blocker, number 32, comes in there, tries to give Jamal Lewis a little bit of room. And look at Bill Romanowski. He is standing up. Doesn't even bend over. Watch, he doesn't even bend over to make the tackle. And Jamal Lewis still gets up almost over the top to score the touchdown.
management. Dilfer gets his offense on the board. 7-0 Baltimore, and here come the Broncos. Denver have had 3 drives, no first downs. Anderson, big hole on the left side. He gets the first down out over the 30 to the 33-yard line.
Well, now that they're into the win, maybe we'll see Denver be a little more patient and run this football. So far, I think they've done a good job of blocking up front. And watch Mike Anderson, Lenny Friedman, good block up front. Look at the size of that hole. Look to the left, look at that. You can watch 5 Baltimore games and never see anybody run up into a space like that.
So the Broncos' first down, and Anderson will try the right side across the 35 out to the 39-yard line.
Now, we had a chance to talk to some of the Baltimore Ravens, Ray Lewis, Rod Woodson, Tony Saragusa, and we asked them about Denver's running game, and they didn't really say a lot about it. They just go, what about those defenses they've been playing? They're lazy. They just couldn't even relate to a running back running up into the line of scrimmage and having a wide open space to run into. They have not given it up. They haven't seen it, but they haven't faced the Denver Broncos running game either.
McCaffrey in motion on 2nd and 4. Anderson left side across the 40 to about the 41-yard line.
That's Mike Anderson. He is the guy, at least the way he thinks and the way he works and how hard he runs. He is the person you want to face this Baltimore Ravens defense. We told you he's an ex-Marine, and he says, man, you got to make pain your best friend. He learned that in the Marines, and he has carried that over into football.
5 wide receivers on 3rd and 2. Quick drop, quick pass, that's complete, close to the 45-yard line, and McCaffrey has enough for a first down.
As I said, pain's got to be your best friend. Greg, you just shook your head.
I shook my head when he said it.
Yeah, I know, but watch. Here's Ed McCaffrey. This is called hitch it to the sticks. Go down, 1-yard pass, the first down. That's what they call the sticks. Turn around, quarterback, good timing, first down.
Farrat's first completion of the afternoon. A look at Ed McCaffrey's numbers. What an outstanding season he had. Farrat to throw it again, over the middle. Rod Smith breaks free across the 40 to the 39-yard line of the Baltimore Ravens. That's a 16-yard gain and another first down.
Boy, Rod Smith, this is another guy just tough. What a competitor. Watch the catch as he goes inside against Dwayne Starks. The ball's wobbling, the wind catches it to his body, and Ed McCaffrey and Rod Smith, both of them caught 100 footballs. They are big, physical, tough receivers.
And the consensus opinion this week here in Baltimore is that Starks and McAllister, the 2 cornerbacks, are going to have to stand up tall today. Peter Polware coming on to make that stop. No gain, 2nd and 10.
We were talking to Rod Smith, and Baltimore's defensive back says, we can cover them one-on-one. We don't need any help. And Rod Smith says, I got that article. He says, I read it 4 times this week. And he goes, and what did you say? Are you going to read it again? He says, maybe about 3 more times before the game comes around.
Denver's offense moving the ball well into the wind. 2nd and 10. Farrat goes down at the 46-yard line. Michael McCrary, 6.5 sacks on the season. That one for a loss of 5.
Well, that's a good sack, and it was a smart play by Gus Farrat. McCrary, number 99, look at the movement coming all the way around, just keeps working and gets the sack. Nobody opened down the field. And boy, Mike Shanahan gave this guy a tremendous compliment last night. Never stops. In that play, he got the sack because it was all about effort.
3rd and 15. The Broncos need to reach the 30-yard line for a first down. Quick pass over the middle, that's Smith. Smith with running room, the 30 and more to the 25. Out of bounds, close to the 20-yard line, that's a first down.
Well, when you're going to blitz and you got nobody to help the defensive back, you must make the tackle. Look at the blitzers. Ray Lewis is coming. You can see Rod Woodson up top, and that leaves Rod Smith. Watch him over the middle. One-on-one. Kim Harry, number 20. Oh, that is some job by Rod Smith. Making the catch, knowing the tackle is coming, he stops, lets him run by him.
Denver now at the 21-yard line of the Ravens. Anderson. Penalty marker flies out of the backfield as Anderson bulls his way to about the 16-yard line.
I tell you what, Greg, what a matchup it is today. Baltimore's defense, it is the best in the NFL by far against the run.
Holding offense, number 66, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
That's the center, Tom Nalen. Well, there's an interesting matchup on that offensive line. Number 62, Dan Neal, and number 95, Sam Adams. They were teammates at Cypress Creek High School in Houston, then went off to college. Dan Neal went to Texas. Where did Sam Adams go? Texas A&M.
There you go. But you can see so far that Denver is moving this Baltimore defense enough to give the running back some lanes to run into.
On 1st and 20, the give to Anderson, and Anderson is met by number 79, Larry Webster, as he crossed the 30-yard line. 4-yard gain, it'll be 2nd and 16.
And that's the other thing that makes this Baltimore defense so tough. You know, their starting 11, it's pretty good. Marvin Lewis, the defensive coordinator, but they have enough talent and they have enough backups. When they send their second unit in there, Larry Webster being one of them, the play and the caliber of play does not drop off.
Clock continues to move, 5:55 to play here in the first half. The play clock is down to 5, and it's going to cause Gus Frerotte to burn a timeout. Denver has 1 timeout remaining, and we'll take a timeout and come back after this. Along with Phil Simms and Armin Kate and Greg Gumbel back at PSI Net Stadium in Baltimore. 5:51 to play in the first half. Gus Frerotte, perfection on this drive. 2nd and 16. Play fake, over the middle, has his man. Inside the 15-yard line is Howard Griffith, the fullback out of the backfield.
This is one thing I really like. If I was Denver's offense, I think you can get away with play action passes. That time, Gus Frerotte makes the nice fake, and it allows Howard Griffith just enough time to sneak by the linebackers, get into that open space. Boy, look at that football move as Gus Frerotte does a nice job of catching it with your body.
3rd and 1. Anderson. Anderson racked up at about the 12-yard line, or the 13, short of the first down. Tony Siragusa, Larry Webster and company.
Well, Tony Siragusa, you got to run around him because you're not going to move him. He came in the league, he weighed about 280 pounds, and I said, what do you weigh now? Oh, look at that, and he's nimble. Jumps over the block. He's about 342 pounds.
He didn't say 342, he said 42.
42, yeah, he just takes for granted we know it's over 300.
30-yard field goal attempt by Jason Elam. It is straight enough, wind or no wind. And the Denver Broncos are on the board with 4:31 to play in the first half. 7-3 Baltimore. 4:31 to play in the first half. Steve Lindsay set to kick it away to the Baltimore Ravens. Corey Harris and Priest Holmes are deep. Elam capping a 68-yard drive with a 31-yard field goal.
You know, the one thing I've noticed, though, Greg, and you see play has settled down, especially in the second quarter. The players, they get used to, execute and playing in the cold weather, and it usually takes about a quarter until you're frozen, and you just go, okay, I'm going to be frozen all day long, and you just got to deal with it.
Glad someone's gotten used to it. Lindsay to kick. This one's not going anywhere. To about the 28-yard line, Corey Harris, 40, out cross to the 42-yard line, an excellent field position for the Baltimore Ravens after a 15-yard return. .421 to play in the first half. And the Ravens will start from their own 42-yard line, and they have had the field position advantage so far here today. Dilfer with Gash and Jamal Lewis lined up behind him. Has time, throws far side. Loose football, it is complete. Shannon Sharpe with the ball down the sideline. Sharpe gonna go for the touchdown. That's not the way you draw them up, but all in all, that's a 58-yard touchdown for the Ravens.
Well, you know he loved that, even though there's a little luck involved. Shannon Sharpe scoring that touchdown against his ex-teammates.
The extra point is good. 4:06 to play, and the Ravens with a dagger lead it 14-3. Well, the Baltimore Ravens have just scored on a play that you don't exactly draw up in practice.
Well, let's see what happens. Trent Dilfer's going to throw it out to his right. Ball gets kicked up in the air. Terrell Buckley knocks it up again. Romanowski misses the tackle. No, Al Wilson misses the tackle. And then nobody else except Billy Spencer downfield to make the tackle. And Patrick Johnson, number 83, gets in his way and allows Shannon Sharpe to score the touchdown.
58 yards and a 14-3 lead. O'Neal. This one's much shorter, coming down at the 20-yard line to Detron Smith, and Smith out to the 35. Take one more look.
Well, Trent Dilfer, when you throw into the sidelines, the football is moving and sliding. Priest Holmes, that's Jamal Lewis, knocks it up in the air. Terrell Buckley hits it, misses the interception. Al Wilson misses the tackle, and then there is nobody else except one defender down the field.
The longest catch of Shannon Sharpe's postseason career. 5 wide receivers. First down, Denver. Barat throws. That complete out to the 40-yard line to Desmond Clark. And more pushing and shoving back into the backfield.
This is fighting. This is not pushing and shoving. There was some hands swinging there that time.
Michael McCrary is number 99. Larry Webster is 79.
If I was Denver's offense and Gus Frerotte, you must be extremely careful right here. One mistake and the game could be over.
We mentioned earlier, Baltimore's defense, 49 takeaways, led the NFL. Pass over the middle. Anderson gets out maybe to the 42-yard line, and it'll be 3rd and 3. Clock continues to move, coming up on 3 minutes to play in the first half.
This is one thing Mike Shanahan, and he told us, and we saw it last week, the New York Jets threw the football 69 times against its Ravens defense. And once you get into a situation where you have to throw, they're so good athletically on defense that somewhere along the line, one of them is going to make the play and have you turn the football over.
They need the 45-yard line for a first down. Movement, left side, look to be Tony Jones, number 77. And we have some more. This is Matt Lepsis and Peter Boulware. I think we are beyond chippy.
Prior to the snap, false start offense, number 77, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
So back the Broncos offense up 5 yards. It'll be 3rd and 8.
Tony Jones, the left tackle, just falls back right before the snap. Obvious passing situations makes it tough on the offensive linemen, especially the tackles. They're the farthest away from the quarterback, and they have they have a hard time here in the snap count.
Baltimore fans on their feet. lost the football, picked it up, throws complete, and it's short of a first down. Travis McGriff made the catch, and then Chris McAllister hit him in a hurry. It's a 6-yard gain, but the play had a bad start to it. Before the next play elapses, we will reach the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play. The talk continues on the field, but Shannon Sharp has come up with the game's biggest play, a 58-yard touchdown.
Well, Shannon Sharp doing something that you never see. He's talking. But see, he says nice things to his own teammates.
But he does not stop talking.
Yeah, he had to get a breath, get some oxygen on the sideline.
Jermaine Lewis deep for the kick from Tom Ruin. Line drive kick. Lewis to his 18. Takes a look. Tripped up at the 19-yard line. Keith Burns with the stop after a 2-yard return.
Let's take a look at Gus Farad. He's had trouble today with some snaps. 3 or 4 of them. That time it looks like it gets up, but he doesn't quite get his bottom hand around the football, and he drops it. And boy, he was really lucky to avoid a turnover. Because, you know, once a quarterback looks down, picks the football up, you look down the field and throw it, you usually don't see things real well before you make that decision.
1:51 to play in the first half. Look at Dilfer's numbers on the day. Jamal Lewis. Nowhere to go on the right side. John Mobley, number 51, stops him for no gain. It'll be 2nd and 10. Jamal Lewis told us that all the running backs get together at his place on Thursday nights.
You know, it was really nice to hear. All the running backs go to his house. Of course, that means he has to pay for the food and get it prepared for all of them. But they watch film of their upcoming opponent. They talk about what they're going to do. They learn their assignments. And, man, the coaches, they must be excited about that because it just makes their job easier. And those are the type of things it takes to be an outstanding player in this league now.
Lewis again, tripped up, back to the line of scrimmage, and we asked him who eats the most. He had no hesitation whatsoever. Priest Holmes.
Priest Holmes, he says he's not a real big guy, but he can pack it away. Of course he can eat a lot of food. It's free, you know. So it always tastes better that way. Interesting strategy here. I thought maybe Denver would take a timeout to make them punt the football and see what kind of field position you get. But they're going to save their last timeout to maybe after this play.
3rd and 10.
Opposite.
He yelled opposite. That usually means run.
Lewis straight ahead. They will stop them, and now we'll, let's see, they do call timeout. And they stop the clock with 26 seconds left to play here in the first half. And Denver will get the ball back one more time. 26 seconds to play. O'Neal is deep for the kick from Kyle Richardson, who will be kicking, well, with the swirling wind. We don't know if it'll be in his face or not. Bouncing short of the 50-yard line, takes a Baltimore roll and comes to a stop at about the 37-yard line, and the tussle going on down there after a 42-yard kick. And here we go again.
Well, I don't know what Deltha O'Neal was doing. He was back about 60 yards. You know, you got this wind, even though it's behind the back of the punter, you know, you got to play that it's not, the wind's going to keep the ball down. It's not going to go as far. And, you know, to stand back there on your own 25 or 30-yard line, even if you catch it, you're not going to go anywhere. That ball bounced. That ball hit the ground on Baltimore's side of the 50-yard line.
8 seconds on the clock. Gus Farad has no timeouts remaining. And the fans, in anticipation, sending the Ravens off to the locker room with an outstanding tribute. And that'll do it for the first half. It has been the kind of ball game the Baltimore Ravens enjoy. And their defense now has an 11-point lead to work with in the second half. Let's go down to Armin Katayan.
Coach, that freak play kind of puts you behind the 8 ball against this Ravens defense. How do you overcome it?
Well, you're right. It was unfortunate that happened, but they made a big play. We just got to overcome it in the second half. We got a little momentum going there in that second quarter, so hopefully we can come out and do something.
All right, Coach. Thank you, Greg.
All right, Armin. Our halftime score, Baltimore 14 and Denver 3. Coming up off to New York for the NASDAQ.com halftime report. Jim, Mike, and Randy with first half analysis and a talk with Dolphins head coach Dave Wannstedt. All of that comes your way right after these messages from your local station. Back at PSI Net Stadium, Greg Gumbel along with Phil Simms. 14-3, Baltimore leads Denver at halftime, and more than just on the scoreboard, Phil, you'd have to say advantage Ravens right now.
Well, of course, Greg, things are going their way. You're the Baltimore Ravens right now. You're up 14-3. You can do whatever you want. So if it's 3rd and 8, you don't want to throw the football, don't. Run it, punt the football, make Denver's offense make something happen to come back in this game.
Well, that's the next question. What do the Denver Broncos do differently here in the second half?
Well, I think they got to give the ball to Mike Anderson just a little more, pick their spots. There will be a couple chances for Gus Frerotte to make a big play throwing the football, but the big thing is don't get too anxious. Don't force the issue so much where a turnover can cost you the game.
Denver gets the football first. Look at the wind knock that one down. It comes down at the 23-yard line to Byron Chamberlain, and Chamberlain across the 35 to about the 38 before he is ganged up upon. Number 50, Brad Jackson, makes the stop as we look at the halftime numbers. Only one turnover so far today, and that by the Denver Broncos.
Well, I think the other two, Greg, both quarterbacks, once they got over the initial shock of the wind and the cold weather and all that, they've thrown the football pretty well. And again, as I said in the first half, players adjust to the conditions as it goes along, and so the handling of the football should be better in the second half.
That is Kim Herring, the starting safety, number 20. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened to him.
Number 20 right there, he is on the right side of the screen. Oh, and he gets hit by his own man. Gets his left knee. It looks like Brad Johnson, number 50, gets blocked into him.
So we will see if we can get a report on Kim Herring. Meanwhile, first down from the 38-yard line. Good field position for the Broncos. Frerotte will throw on first down over the middle, incomplete. And Ray Lewis was converging on Howard Griffith. And let's go down to Armin.
Thanks, Greg. Talk to Brian Belk. He's particularly impressed with the physical nature of his football team, particularly along the offensive line. He said, our defense has really obviously kept us in the game. We're going to make the Broncos fight to win and the win in the third quarter. Back to you.
All right, Armin. Number 45, Corey Harris, has replaced Kim Herring at safety.
And Gus Frerotte got away with a bad decision. Ray Lewis saw that last play, really should have made the interception. He just missed it.
Frerotte had hit 7 straight passes. 2nd and 10. Movement up front. This play doesn't count.
I think Matt Lepsis, the right
Prior to the
tackle.
snap, false start offense, number 78. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
You are so prescient.
Yes, I am. I got all that stuff. But what'd you just call me?
Prescient.
Don't use big words. But I was going to say, Greg, it makes me think we've had a couple false starts, and it wouldn't surprise me when Tony Syracuse is in there. He was telling us on Friday, he's got a lot of little tricks. He likes to yell out all these words to make the offensive linemen, it's hut, so they'll move before the quarterback's ready.
5 wide receivers, the pitch for Rod Smith. Smith looking for running room, shakes one tackle, can't shake Rob Burnett. The 11th year defensive end out of Syracuse, who had a terrific regular season with 10.5 sacks.
Well, the one thing that has really improved this Ravens defense this year, the reason why they were the best in football at stopping the run, of course they got Ray Lewis and the linebackers, and we hear all about them, but the defensive line, none of them are trying to get sacks. They're just doing their job. They spread the defense out, and it allows them to make the tackles and stop the running game.
5 wide receivers on 3rd and 19. Frerotte has it tipped over the middle. It falls incomplete, and it'll bring up a punting situation.
Well, I tell you what, that was one ugly series by the Broncos offense. Sam Adams staying back, gets up and knocks the ball up in the air, and Gus Frerotte was fortunate it wasn't intercepted.
So Jermaine Lewis, ever dangerous, back at his own 30-yard line. And Tom Ruin to kick again. Lewis, fair catch called for and made at the 33-yard line. Dilfer and the Ravens break the huddle. 13:50 to play here in the third quarter. Baltimore with a 14-3 lead and good field position at the 34-yard line. Jamal Lewis. This time he gets nothing. Trevor Price and Al Wilson make the stop.
Brian Billick told Armin Katayan he liked how physical his offensive line was in the first half. That was the story.
Dilfer for Lewis, falls incomplete, and it'll be 3rd and 10. On that first play from scrimmage, Lewis was stopped by middle linebacker Al Wilson, and these guys not only went to Tennessee and played football together, they were roommates. 3rd and 10.
2-7.
From the shotgun, Dilfer throws down the middle. It is incomplete just across midfield. Qadri Ismail diving for the football, and the Denver defense comes up with a 3-and-out, and now they'll get the ball back.
Yeah, but nice safe throw, smart throw. When you're throwing across the middle, be careful what's in front of you. That's what a quarterback needs to see always. And so he throws it low. That way you can't get in trouble, and Ismail almost makes the catch.
O'Neal standing at his own 25-yard line for the kick from Kyle Richardson. Nice kick by Richardson. All the way back, and he'll let it bounce, rolling toward the end zone, and it goes into the end zone for the touchback. $69,638 anew Baltimore Ravens attendance record here today. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line for the Broncos. Mike Anderson for a couple out to the 22-yard line, a gain of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8. Let's go down to Armin Katayan. Armin.
Greg, just moments ago, the Ravens training staff took Kim Herring off the field. He was being carried off. He's in the locker room right now for x-rays to his lower left leg area, the fibula area. I'll give you an update as soon as I've got it.
Thanks, Armin. Broncos offense was very, very good on that one scoring drive, and they've been totally helpless on the others. Anderson tries the left side, trying to turn the corner, and look who runs him down. One thing that every Bronco told us about Ray Lewis, he can go from side to side on this football field as well as anyone.
Well, he can, and one of the reasons why he could do it, Greg, we've said it, I have yet to see an offensive lineman get up the field and put any type of their body on Ray Lewis. And Chris McAllister, number 21, also gets into the tackle. But again, that time, because of the big defensive lineman inside, you can't get past them to get to Ray Lewis.
5 wide receivers on 3rd and 7. Quick pass, almost picked off, caught by McCaffrey, and he has enough for the first down, but I believe the Ravens thought they had themselves an interception and a touchdown.
Well, you almost said it right. Corey Harris, number 45, he sees the play, diagnoses it, and he goes for the interception, and he thought he was going to get it. But Ed McCaffrey, boy, the football thrown behind him just a little bit. A blitz by the Ravens defense. They are trying to force the issue. A turnover could be the end of the game.
Corey Harris couldn't believe he didn't come up with the ball. First down. Anderson. Yardage hard to come by on the ground now. That's a pickup of 1, and it's 2nd and 9. Here's a young man who said as the season wore on, it was a roller coaster for him at the beginning, but as he got to understand more of what the NFL was like and what the offensive machinery was like in Denver, things got a little better for him.
Well, Mike Shanahan said from 6 weeks ago to now, it is night and day. He is such a better player, and when you're watching, it looks like he's actually gotten faster over that period of time.
Anderson corralled in the backfield. Rod Woodson, number 26, on his way to his 9th Pro Bowl, in the backfield with Anderson for the tackle.
Well, Rod Woodson comes from the outside. Nobody blocks him. Safety. He's done this so many times. He did it for many years in Pittsburgh. He used to be a corner, has made the switch to safety. And he's done it so well, like you said, Greg, going to the Pro Bowl.
The Denver Broncos, 5 rushes this half for 0 yardage, and Gus Frerotte has to call a timeout. Denver burns its first timeout here in the second half.
You were talking about Rod Woodson, and I even said to Marvin Lewis, the defensive coordinator, why don't more of these corners like he was go to safety late in their career and, you know, get about 3 extra years? And he goes, hey, the only guys that can do it that are guys that love football and paid attention to everything when they're playing corner, and Rod Woodson was one of those type of guys.
3rd and 9. Frerotte throws behind Rod Smith, his intended receiver. And the punting unit will come on. Smith started outside, cut back to the inside. Ferrotte's pass was behind him.
Well, he was open, but I think Gus Frerotte just being careful. So he threw it a little low and behind Rod Smith.
It was interesting talking to Brian Billick, wasn't it? He said he feels the winner of this game goes to the Super Bowl out of the AFC.
Brian Billick is not afraid to say whatever comes to his mind.
No, he isn't. Look at that kick. That one goes nowhere and then takes a Baltimore bounce back into Denver territory. Another look from up above on PSI Net Stadium, and Gus Frerotte trying to figure out what he and the Broncos can do against this Baltimore defense, which starts in Denver territory. They've been in Denver territory on 5 of the 8 drives the Ravens have. This is Jamal Lewis. And he picks up about 2 on the play. Whistle blows the play dead at the 47. 2nd and 8. Dilfer, deep drop, the screen. Lewis turns it upfield. 40, 35, first down, Baltimore.
Well, that's a nice play call by Brian Billick. Play it conservative. The only way that I think the Broncos can get back in this game and win it if the Baltimore Ravens offense turns it over. And screen plays, they're safe. Quarterback's not going to throw interceptions, and Jamal Lewis, you can see, extremely hard to bring down with the arms once he gets going down the field.
Yeah, there are a few warning clouds on the horizon for the Denver Broncos right now.
And you know, the other thing, just to go about Armin Katayan's report, I'd like to ask Brian Billick his opinion of that philosophy. Right now, in the Northeast, cold, windy, you better have a good defensive run to football.
Lewis. Broncos say they have the football. The officials say no. That the play has been blown dead. Loss of 2 on the play. Let me get 2nd and 12.
I heard it being blown dead after the football was already free. But I think the Broncos defense, let's see if the ball did come out. Jamal Lewis got his arms around it. I don't know. Well, couldn't tell from that. It's not going to matter.
Play clock to 3, to 2, to 1, and that's too late. Trent Dilfer didn't keep an eye on the play clock and suffers the 5-yard delay of game.
Well, what happened is Trent Dilfer comes up to the line of scrimmage, and he sees there is nobody outside except Patrick Johnson and Terrell Buckley. Look up here. Look at the safeties. Nobody over here, and he was going to change the play to try to throw the football down the field, but the clock ran out on him.
So now he looks at a 2nd and 17. Clock comes up on 7 minutes to play in the 3rd. Play fake. Rolling, throwing. That's complete. to Sam Gash out of the backfield, inside the 35-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Well, Sam Gash been a blocking fullback in his career, New England, Buffalo, and coming down here. The one thing, though, even though he's a blocking fullback, does have good hands and catches the ball out in the flat and serves a very good purpose for the offense.
1 year ago, the team captain on the Phil Simms All-Iron team.
That's right. Blocking fullback. An extraordinary blocking fullback. Doesn't see a lot of time down here with the Ravens, though.
Priest Holmes in the backfield. Dilfer's crushed in the backfield and goes down at the 42-yard line. Billy Jenkins on the blitz.
The one thing, you know, you're the quarterback. You got to know you're playing against a desperate defense. And Billy Spencer, Trent Dilfer should have seen this. Watch coming from his right. He just came up from the secondary, lined up. Nobody's there to pick him up. And that could have been a big turnover for the Broncos defense, but Baltimore recovers.
So once again, Kyle Richardson will try to pin the Broncos inside their 20-yard line. There is Deltha O'Neal at his own 10. High kick, bounces inside the 20, rolls toward the goal line, and Richardson has done it again. Terrific special teams play.
Watch the hit Trent Dilfer takes. Billy Jenkins, number 32, comes in. Wow. Trent Dilfer just got up, walked to the sideline.
Starting from deep in their own territory. Anderson. Not much there. Just out over the 5-yard line. A pickup of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8.
You know, besides, there's Marvin Lewis, the defensive coordinator. Besides the very first play of the game when Gus Frerotte faked the run and rolled the other way and threw it out in the flat, I have not seen that from the Broncos offense. And usually you see that about 5 or 6 times a game.
42 yards rushing today, far off of what they usually post. Frerotte throws complete. Dwayne Carswell makes the catch and is driven out of bounds a couple of yards shy of a 1st down.
Well, if you're the quarterback and you're playing against this Baltimore Ravens defense, when you drop back, it must look like there's about 13 defenders over there. But that time, Gus Frerotte had the time and made a nice throw.
Boy, Tony Siragusa looked like he got a good jump off the snap and was bull rushing some people toward the quarterback. Quick release by Frerotte. Broncos now facing a 3rd and 2. Throws this side, batted, incomplete. Sam Adams with a hand in the face.
Well, Sam Adams, what he does, and if you watch the 2 interior defensive linemen for the Ravens, what they do, they don't even rush the quarterback. Watch Sam Adams. He's just going to occupy, watch him, jumps up and knocks the football down. Now Ed McCaffrey going down the field, working against Dwayne Starks, wide open. He knows it. But Sam Adams doing a good job inside.
Second blocked pass by Sam Adams today. Ruin kicks. Lewis from the 45. Up the sideline and out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. Jermaine Lewis, the NFL's leader in punt return average this season, 16.1 a game, returned 2 for touchdowns, and has given Baltimore great field position once again.
Well, watch as he goes around. I thought there was a clip in the back, as you're going to see. Well, let's see if we see it right there. Looked like a block from behind, but it's the playoffs.
Well, what does that mean?
Well,
a block in the back is not a block in the back?
You just got to play hard. That's what it means.
32-yard punt, 17-yard return, 1st down for Baltimore. Jamal Lewis knocked down at the 27-yard line by Billy Jenkins. A look at the numbers of the 2 running backs today. 2nd and 8. Lewis Lewis again. Puts his head down, bounces off someone, breaks free, and goes for the touchdown. "27 yards.
Watch Jamal Lewis. Oh, Burns in the hole. He can make the tackle. They just can't. Al Wilson couldn't make the tackle. He's so big and so strong that you've got to wrap your arms somewhere around those legs. Nobody does it, and he scores the touchdown.
The extra point by Stover is good. Jamal Lewis, 5'11", 231 yards. Longtime National Football League owner Art Modell 5 years ago moved the Cleveland Browns to Baltimore, and they became the Ravens. This is their first playoff game, and it looks like he's having a good time. Mr. Modell, you are on.
Yeah, it's an exciting moment, Greg. We saw him in practice Friday. He was so happy about the team, the way they have performed all year long. And, hey, the Baltimore Ravens, you talk to them, whoever wins this game, they thought was going to the Super Bowl.
From the 5, O'Neal can't find running room and is smacked down. Let's go back to the touchdown. And
well,
Jamal Lewis runs into his old college roommate and wins this battle.
Yeah, he does. Right in the hole, you're going to see Jamal Lewis, number 56, Al Wilson. And you just can't get low enough sometimes to bring the ball carrier down. And no matter how many games you watch in the NFL, it usually comes down to the team that's bigger, stronger, and tougher is going to win it. And that's what we're seeing so far today. Baltimore just more physical, and that's why they're winning 21-3.
First down for the Broncos. Farrat over the middle, incomplete, almost intercepted at the feet of Peter Boulware. I was about to ask you, Phil, this has got to change offensive philosophy now for Mike Shanahan.
Well, it does, Greg. They got to force the issue a little. They can't waste time, and you see Peter Boulware. He's going to go to try to make the tackle. Didn't realize the football was coming right at him.
Gus Farrat just 2 out of 7 for 15 yards here in the second half.
And he's really having trouble with the play calls today. He's not going to get this play off.
You're going to have to hurry. Down to 2, down to 1. He did get it off. Anderson runs right into Rob Burnett.
Well, if there was any doubts about this Baltimore defense from the people across the country, you keep reading about the statistics, a record in a 16-game season, giving up points. They gave up less than 1,000 yards rushing for the whole season, and you can see why. They're so big, so physical. On the edges, they're fast. They got good tacklers. They're coached well. It's just hard to move the football.
Farrat over the middle. McCaffrey avoids a tackle. Can't avoid that one, though, and he comes up short of first down yardage. Robert Bailey, number 35.
See, you can avoid a tackle. That's okay. Johnny Unitas is looking out there. I wonder what he's thinking he could do against his defense. Well, I know what he's thinking. I could have thrown on him. And he probably could. But going back to that, when you dodge a defender going against this Ravens defense, you might dodge one guy, but about 4 other defenders are all rushing to the ball. They're going to run you over.
Jermaine Lewis, deep for the kick. Bounces and rolls and will come to a stop at about the 40-yard line. 1:36 to play here in the third quarter. Let's go down to Army.
Greg, you mentioned Johnny Unitas. I'm here with him now, the great Baltimore legend. Johnny, a cold David, some warm memories for you, I'm sure, a playoff game, first time in 23 years.
Yeah, playoffs been good for us here. We had 1 in 7, I guess, against Cincinnati, and you know, the same type of situation. The crowd gets behind you.
What do you think of this defense? Does it remind you of the dominant teams, the championship teams of the Colts?
Well, the Colts, when we were playing, always had pretty dominant defensive football teams, and you win with defense, as you see with what we've done all year. the team has done all year, and they played extremely well. They're well talented. They play their own position, and you don't run on them.
All right, thanks very much, Johnny. Greg?
All right, Armin, Tony Banks has now come on as the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. And what do you make of this move by Brian Billick, Phil?
You know, I don't know. Is something wrong with Trent Dilfer? I don't know why he would put Tony Banks in the game in a situation like this.
Remember, he did take a terrific shot on a blitz from Billy Jenkins. You look at Tony Banks, who suffered a separated left shoulder last week against the New York Jets, and they're looking at Dilfer on the sideline.
We see the trainer in front of Trent Dilfer. Well, you're right. It could be that, Greg. They're talking. I just saw the trainer point to his jaw. And
Priest, Holmes, Sam Gash in the backfield. Holmes to the 45. Kavika Pittman in on the stop.
You know, we saw that hit to Trent Dilfer by Billy Jenkins. We saw the top of Billy Jenkins' helmet hit Trent Dilfer to the right side of his jaw. And two things. They're checking him out on the sideline, and the other one, I'm sure the NFL office is going to take a look at that hit too.
It just might be a punishable offense. Last 20 seconds of the third quarter. Dilfer up on his feet. And whistles blow. Let's see what Larry Nimmers has to say. He's counting faces.
Baltimore had too many men in the huddle. That's a 5-yard penalty, still third down.
We saw Priest Holmes jogging off the field here, hoping to escape the count. I don't think he made it.
Yeah, I was like what he was doing. He was counting. You know, I don't think they would line up with 12 on the field. That happens every once in a while on defense, but you don't see that happen too often on the offensive side of the football.
We are told that Dilfer suffered a mild concussion, and we have come to the end of the third quarter. Back for the start of the fourth quarter. As you look at Trent Dilfer on the sideline, we are told from the sideline that he suffered a little dizzy spell, and that's why Tony Banks has come on to replace him. And Banks will start from the shotgun here. Lewis and Holmes in the backfield on 3rd and 11. He has time, throws out of the backfield. Lewis had it and dropped it. Let's go down to Armin Katayan. Armin.
Greg, the late word is it's a mild concussion with Trent Dilfer. He's just been working out in front of the trainer staff, going back and forth, zigzagging back and forth, kind of bouncing him around a little bit. He's threw the ball well. He looks very clear-headed, very coherent. Probable return, we'll wait and see. Back to you.
Okay, Armin. Well, Dilfer will have this chance to rest as the Raven defense takes the field. Delta O'Neal at his own 25-yard line. Nice kick by Richardson. O'Neal from his 22. Looking for running room. Cuts outside. And it's down at the 30-yard line. 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Farrat to the air. Over the middle. Behind Ed McCaffrey, and that ball may have been tipped at the line of scrimmage.
No, it was tipped. It was Tony Siragusa. Looked like he got his hand on it again. Let's watch. Gus Farrat does have a low release. There's no question. Siragusa's head, and you could see that shot before. It could be hard to miss that head. I don't know. You know, I think he needs a bigger helmet. What do you think, Greg?
I don't think they come any bigger.
He is filling out that helmet, that is for sure.
2nd and 10. Here comes the blitz. Over the middle. Incomplete. McCaffrey, the intended receiver again. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Now, you know, things are not tough enough for the Denver Broncos offense. This time, you got the number 98. Watch him. Tony Siragusa going to drop back. Look at him, shuffling his feet. If he intercepted a pass, well, that would be something to see.
Get out the calendar.
Yes.
3rd and 10. Denver has 1 first down and 2 rushing yards this half. Farrat steps up, throws incomplete. That one intended for Desmond Clark. And Farrat is on the turf.
Yeah, he took a shot that time.
And is in obvious pain. Let's take a look.
Let's see what happens. He tries to wait to let the receivers get deep down the field.
Looked like Peter Boulware may have hit him down low.
Somebody went low on Gus Farrat. I could not see who it was. Dwayne Carswell almost makes the catch. And Greg, I think you're right. It's number 58, Peter Boulware. Goes down and hits his left knee. Oh yeah, they're checking it out now. Brian Greasy is the backup. He is absolutely not 100% healthy.
And the number 3 quarterback today is Jarius Jackson.
I would not be surprised if Gus Farrat is unable to continue playing, that if we saw Jarius Jackson come in the game.
Well, Brian Greasy still with the cover up on the sideline as Farrat is helped off the field. Go back and take one more look.
Well, Peter Boulware, what a nice move. Good spin and really has no choice. Sometimes defenders, when you go low on purpose, you're going to get fined by the NFL. But he doesn't do that. He's fallen, lunges towards the quarterback, and that was a really good shot. You could see why Gus Farrat's left knee is bothering him.
Tom Ruin punts for the 8th time today. This one will bounce toward the sideline and now takes a Denver roll. That is Jarius Jackson, the Broncos' 7th round draft pick, the rookie out of Notre Dame. Loosening up on the sideline, but there's Brian Greasy still covered up, and we saw Gus Farrat walking up and down, so we'll see what happens. Trent Dilfer back at quarterback for the Ravens, and the give to Lewis. Lewis across the 35 to about the 37-yard line. And the clock moves, coming up on 14 minutes to play here in the 4th quarter. There is Gus Farrat. And we hear from the Denver sideline that he's all right, and look for him again.
Boy, after seeing that shot he took on his knee, I did not think he would be back in the game. You know, Gus Farrat, a free agent. We talked to him last night. He'd like to, of course, he wants to play well during this playoff drive, but you know, he wants to be a starting quarterback again in the National Football League. And if he wants to start again, that means he's going to have to leave Denver and go someplace else.
Lewis out to the 40-yard line. You know, you were just saying, Phil, about this defense and how people around the country, if they weren't convinced about the toughness of this Ravens defense before, they should be now. Look at how many 3-and-outs the Denver Broncos have had today.
With Jamal Lewis, you see the stats, went over 100 yards. Greg, I don't know if I was convinced. Then I came down and you talk to players and you see some of the games on tape and you see it in person. I am definitely convinced. They are big and they are physical. And again, we said they stay in the right positions. They don't have to trick it up to play good defense.
Kadri Ismail with the catch and a first down across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Denver Broncos, 11 possessions today, and 7 of them they've gone 3-and-out.
Yeah, and I think the Broncos coming in the game, they were talking about they'd like to be physical, run the football, and their passing game, the conditions, playing against a good defense, their passing game, it has never gotten untracked and never has even had the look of like they figured out what to do.
Romanowski and the Broncos trying to put the clamps on the offense of the Baltimore Ravens here. And Lewis getting up close to midfield.
And our first thoughts about Jamal Lewis were right too. When we saw him in practice, I go, how could you tackle somebody that looks like that and can run, you know? And, well, even professional football players in defense are going, yeah, it's pretty hard.
And you know, he's running behind a pretty good line, but we haven't yet mentioned number 75, the left tackle, Jonathan Ogden. He only goes 6'8", 340. He was frightening without pads on in practice.
Yeah, he was. You know, Jonathan Ogden, even though, Greg, usually when you're that tall means you can't move that well, but it's 6'8". He has the foot action and moves around like a guy that's about 5'10 or 5'11.
Lewis to midfield. and they continue to move the clock. 11 and a half to play. Jamal Lewis has become only the third running back to go for over 100 yards against Denver this year.
Well, you know, I'm got a little smile on my face as I look at Brian Billick. He says, you know, the one team that Tennessee doesn't want to see, that's us. Well, Coach, they're going to see you next week if the score holds up.
3rd and 7. And Dilfer calls timeout with the play clock down to 2 and 10:58 on the game clock. Baltimore burns its first timeout here in the second half. Each team is now down to.
It's been so long since they had a playoff game here, and Brian Billick being the coach, and nobody gave him a lot of credit. If you read some of the stories around the national media and everything, and Brian Billick, his theme was all week kind of condescending to his team. Yeah, we stink. You know, I can't coach, and Mike Shanahan's much better than me, and he just kept going on with this all week. And his players, you know, of course, they caught on to it. Yeah, nobody's giving us the credit, and they kind of used that emotion to drive them forward this week. And you know, that emotion, of course, the fact that they're real good has helped them get ahead 21-3.
Dilfer with time, and now running toward the near sideline and goes out of bounds. Lost a couple yards on the play, keeping it. Stops the clock at 10:50. Tanavasa ran him out of bounds. That's considered a sack and the loss of a yard on the play.
Well, the Denver defense, it's held up its end today. It's played pretty well. They were a little unlucky on the one touchdown by Shannon Sharp, but you know, the difference is Denver's offense has not found a way to move the football.
Fair catch called for. And Terrell Buckley makes the catch back at the 7-yard line. Well, the significance of this game here in Baltimore was not lost on that man before kickoff.
In 23 years. I think I was 2 years old the last time a playoff game was here. But we brought it back finally. And now it's on. We ain't come this far to go home. Because we already home. All we got to do is send somebody else home. That's what we're here for.
They have done it so far. 21-3, Baltimore in the lead. Farad pulls it down, now throws, incomplete, intended for Dwayne Carswell, number 89. Tried to make the one-handed catch, couldn't pull it in.
You know, as we saw, just heard Ray Lewis talking, you know, the guy weighs 255 pounds. He's a middle linebacker. And as we were talking to him on Friday, I said, well, you know, how you feeling? He goes, I feel great. He goes, all year long, I have not had one single injury, hurt, or anything on my body. Now, that is an amazing thing from an NFL player that had nothing bothering him the whole year, especially at middle linebacker.
On 2nd and 10, Farad with time, throws. McCaffrey has it. Close to the 25-yard line. It'll be enough for the first down, and he took a big hit from Chris McAllister.
Well, that's nothing new for Eddie McCaffrey. He had 100 catches, or 101 catches this year, and 98 of them he took big hits after he caught the football. And watch McAllister. Nice throw by Gus Farad.
Now let's finish that story on Ray Lewis. After you thought about it, at 6'1", 255, who's going to hurt him?
You know, he is really built. He is made. That body of his was made to play football.
And dropping the ball is Carswell. Nothing wrong with that pass from Gus Farad.
You know, you go back to that hit of Chris McAllister. The one thing the Ravens corners, McAllister and Dwayne Starks, they are, you know, just like the defense, there's a lot of reasons why they stopped the run. The corners are excellent tacklers too. Ed McCaffrey attests to that.
McAllister trying to separate McCaffrey from the ball. 2nd and 10. Quick pass to Anderson. Anderson bounces off the tackler and bounced out of bounds at about the 31-yard line after a 7-yard gain.
You see what happens as he makes the hit and makes the tackle. Mike Anderson, there's about 5 Baltimore Raven defenders there. Watch Gus Farad makes the completion. And what do we say, Greg? You might avoid one tackler. Nice shot there. But look at everybody chasing the football. And Ray Lewis just goes without, do I have to say it? He's going to chase everything down to try to get that hit.
Third down conversion facing Farad. Throws over the middle, throws behind McCaffrey, incomplete.
And I think the Broncos are going to go for it here on fourth down. I'm going to tell you, though, you talk about people hustling to the football. Tony Siragusa says a couple of weeks ago they went to the sideline. Ray Lewis was complaining. They said, what are you complaining about? He goes, I can't make a tackle. Everybody's beating me to the football.
4th and 3. Farad throws a quick pass complete to McCaffrey for a first down across the 35 to the 37-yard line.
Well, they're just giving up. The defense is not giving up anything easy, even the short passes. A lot of times in this league, in situations like this, boy, Ray Lewis on another tackle. In those situations, they just give up the first downs, but not the Ravens.
Brian Billick was, doggone it.
Oh, boy.
Rod Smith, no catches this half, just 2 on the day for the Broncos. Farad goes down. Baltimore's 3rd sack today. Michael McCrary gets it for a loss of 10.
McCrary, number 99, he is a high-effort player. And again, if you hold the football, he keeps hustling, keeps coming. Comes around one guy, gets to the inside, gets around the center, Tom Nalen, and gets the sack.
2nd and 20. Over the middle, he overthrew wide open Rod Smith. Now, Rod Smith was breaking into running room, would put it lightly.
Yeah, it was a nice design that time by the Broncos. But again, McCrary on the outside working against Tony Jones. A slap, turns, and then falls into the quarterback.
So now it's a big 3rd and 20.
I'm sorry, Greg, but what a nice combination. Big guys on the inside, Michael McCrary on the outside, Rob Burnett, Peter Boulware, an outside pass rusher.
Farad goes down. Rob Burnett, the 4th Ravens sack of the day.
You know, when you got a good defense, it's when you continue. Every time there's a play made by the defense, this time Rob Burnett from the top, it's a different guy. We've called out almost every single player on the Ravens defense today. It is not completely dominated by just Ray Lewis. It's everybody else finds a place and they make a play.
Bruin loses the football, picks it up and kicks it away. And penalty marker is down. Jermaine Lewis dances out of bounds at the 40-yard line, and let's check the marker.
Leave a man downfield, of course, when the punter's going to drop the football. The Bronco players do not know that, and Brian Billick says send it back.
Ineligible downfield on the kicking team, number 59. That's a 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Well, the Broncos had a really good 4th down conversion a few minutes ago, and ever since that play, they've been moving backwards.
Boy, next week, Baltimore going to Tennessee. People can say what they want. I think it's pretty exciting when you see football games and where you know when an offense scores, you're seeing something that's, wow, that's big, because that could hold up, for the whole game, and that will be the case next week down in Tennessee.
Well,
touchdowns will be tough to come by.
Talk about proof of the pudding. Denver comes in here averaging more than 30 points a game. They have 3 on the board here today. Line drive kick. Lewis to the 43-yard line, and here's a penalty marker. And that will be a block in the back, we're pretty sure. "46-yard kick and a 5-yard return. And that might have been number 22, Dwayne Starks.
Illegal block in the back. During the return, number 22. 10-yard penalty. First down, Baltimore.
Greg Gumbel, Phil Simms, Armin Katayan, 7 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter in Baltimore. The Ravens with a 21-3 lead and the football. And back to the ground game, Jamal Lewis bulls his way for a yard or 2.
21-3, and as you look around, not an empty seat. Nobody is leaving, and well, that says a lot nowadays. Because in sporting events, everybody likes to leave early. But the crowd's such a big part of a game, especially when your team. Especially when your team plays this style. You know, the offense is kind of grinded out. The defense plays on the course of talent, but all the emotion and the crowd noise that can be brought too.
Remember, very early in the game, Armin Katayan was talking about how this Baltimore team likes to impose its will. And you, I know, for years have told us that one way to impose your will on the opposition is to run the football and run it well.
Well, it does. It takes patience. And Greg, what did I say earlier? You win the games, and this league is still about, you know, the big guys. Whose big guys can beat up the other team's big guys, because that allows all the small guys around them to have success.
Jamal Lewis is hit at the line of scrimmage and stopped for no gain. Harold Hasselbeck making the tackle, and a little more conversation on the far side of the field.
You know, Jamal Lewis is a hard runner, and he's had a terrific day today, but we've seen him run through some big openings created by the offensive line.
There's Jamal Lewis, 110 yards on the day and 2 touchdowns.
You know, he came in and really is adapted to the NFL way of playing football quickly. You know, something most rookies can't do is pick up blitzes at the running back position. He played at Tennessee. Peyton Manning was his quarterback. He learned to pick up blitzes down in Tennessee because you better protect Peyton Manning.
We weren't allowed to miss blocks there. O'Neal back at his own 30-yard line. Kyle Richardson's kick is a beauty to the 15-yard line. O'Neal looking for running room, and there is none. He is down at the 12. What a terrific 50-yard kick and special teams coverage. Billy Davis makes the tackle. Jarius Jackson has come on as the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, and there is Gus Frerotte on the sidelines. 4.5 minutes remain, and Jackson comes on to quarterback the Broncos. Jackson with time, throws over the middle. Rod Smith, nice adjustment on the ball, thrown a little bit behind him, and he makes the catch for the first down.
Well, there's Gus Frerotte taken out of the game. I'm sure he's not happy about that. Tough conditions against a tough defense. Hard to put up good numbers.
Jarius Jackson throws far side. McCaffrey hit and goes down. Dwayne Starks with another hit on Ed McCaffrey. Jackson came into this game 0 for 1 throwing the football and 1 rush for a -1 yard rushing. He's already seen more action than he has all season long.
Yeah, what a time to see it. Playoff game on the road against the Baltimore Ravens defense.
That's when you know your coach loves you.
He wants you to grow up fast.
Jackson flips it over the middle. His tight end Carswell, and Carswell dragged down at the 41-yard line, and the clock continues to move up on 3:20 to play. Timeout is called on the field, and stopping the clock at 3:22. So these Baltimore Ravens get ready to travel to Tennessee, and as you said, it probably should be a war of major proportions there.
Well, it will. You know, Greg, it's an interesting matchup. There's not many teams, I think, that can just come in and physically match up to the power and size of the Baltimore Ravens. There's no question the Tennessee Titans, they almost mirror each other. They play the same style of offense. They play the same way on defense. You know, Tennessee might gamble a little more on defense than Baltimore, but it's going to. I think it'll be an exciting game.
You saw the statistics there. Each team won on the road against the other, and Brian Billick really felt that it was a turning point for his team when it won at Tennessee this season. 3rd and 3. Jackson pump fakes, goes for Rod Smith deep, makes the catch, no, incomplete. 3 Ravens converging on Rod Smith as that ball came down.
Well, this Ravens defense gave up 480-some yards in the passing game last week to the New York Jets, and Brian Billick says we couldn't have scripted things better than that. Our defense had caught our attention. We made the turnovers by the Jets. We still win the game, but it just made them alert. They said, okay, Denver thinks they're going to come in and throw the football like the Jets. That's not going to happen.
4th and 3. Quick pass way too high, incomplete, and the ball goes over on downs. The last time the Denver Broncos played a football game and didn't score a touchdown was the season finale last year.
Well, this game kind of mirrors the game they had a couple of weeks ago against the Kansas City Chiefs. They scored 1 touchdown, but it was a special teams touchdown. So on the road against physically tough defenses, Denver's offense really struggled late in the year.
Furious Jackson, baptism by fire. Ray Lewis, another day at the office.
You hear the crowd roaring. They just put up on the sign, who is the only NFL team to beat Tennessee down at their place? And I guess we all know the answer. That would be Baltimore.
Priest Holmes to the 40.
You know, this was a big stepping stone for Trent Dilfer. This is the guy that got pushed out of Tampa Bay, and he told us to. He goes, look, I knew it was time to leave. It was not a match. My style playing the way they want to play down there. But what I find interesting, he's come to Baltimore and they're playing basically the same style. As Brian Billick would say, we are playing Tony Dungy football. But Trent Dilfer really performed well today, didn't make mistakes, made good decisions.
Holmes again to about the 36-yard line. More important to Brian Billick, he played their kind of football, the kind of football that they wanted to play, and dictated the tempo of this game to the Broncos. Denver takes its 3rd and final timeout, and Mike Shanahan probably feeling very, very helpless on the sideline.
Well, then, Greg, just to finish up about Trent Dilfer, too, he says, you know, since I've been in the National Football League, I've never been able to play the type of quarterback that I want to be in. And I know what he wants to do. He wants to, that's one of the reasons why he came to Baltimore. Brian Billick, known in Minnesota as a guy that can coach quarterbacks, make them better, make them be guys that can throw it down the field and be very productive. And that's why he came here. He wants to be in an offense that throws it about 30 to 35 times a game. And, you know, that could happen. That could happen next year as they make the next step forward in their offensive philosophy.
Well, what a team full of characters Brian Billick has assembled here. He and Ozzie Newsome.
Go ahead. You hear the crowd?
Yeah, I know. They're saying, we love Phil.
Well, go ahead and join them, Greg. You know, you can cheer with them.
No, they don't work with you like we do. Priest Holmes buried back at the 40-yard line. Keith Traylor and Eric Brown. How much did you have to pay those guys? There's Pat Bowlen, the owner of the Denver Broncos, on the sideline.
Nothing. You know I got no money.
Pat Bowlen, we saw him down on the field, and he said he was wearing his lucky tie. Ozzie Newsome, Director of Player Personnel for the Baltimore Ravens, along with the owner, Art Modell, celebrating the Ravens' first playoff game of victory. Karan Coleman is deep for the punt from Richardson. He's going to drive this one into the end zone. 1:51 to play here in the fourth quarter, and celebrations abound on this Baltimore sideline. Shannon Sharpe, 3 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown today. Being congratulated by his coach Brian Billick, who's feeling some of the emotions here in Baltimore.
Well, he's got to be, Greg. You know, to be a head coach in a franchise, your second year, they get a home playoff game and you win it. It's a tremendous emotional high. You can see it from Art Modell, Ozzie Newsome, all the work.
Jarius Jackson going to throw downfield for Rod Smith. It is incomplete. He was double covered. Chris McAllister bats the ball away. We saw Shannon Sharpe there. You know, an emotional game for him, going up against a team with which he had spent such a tremendous amount of time and had a great career in Denver with the Broncos.
You know, absolutely. He knew his time was up in Denver. When you become a free agent in your last year and they don't talk to you about re-signing you, the handwriting's on the wall. But he said even though that went by, and I was about ready to sign with Baltimore, I kept going, maybe Denver will come in late and make me an offer. It didn't happen. It was time to move on, and he's done a good job down here in Baltimore.
Jackson throws this side. McCaffrey with the catch across the 30 to about the 32-yard line, and the clock continues to move, coming up on a minute and a half to play.
Now, you know, it did take a while for Shannon Sharpe to get into this offense. Brian Billick is a offensive coach or coordinator that likes to throw the football to the wide receivers. And Shannon Sharpe, about mid-season, finally started catching some passes.
Whistle blows down on the field.
In fact, go ahead. You asked Shannon Sharpe who was
best
covering.
job.
We'll review the ruling on the field.
Now, the replay is going to take a look at that last catch by Ed McCaffrey. But yeah, when he caught fire in mid-season, something happened. We said, well, who did the best job of covering you? And he said, Tony and Brian did, meaning Tony Banks and Brian Billick. He said, Brian didn't call the plays and Tony didn't throw me the ball.
Yeah, that's something else. But they have learned to work him in the offense more and more as the years gone on. And I think in the playoffs, especially in these type of games in this style, let's see if we can see the play, and it's a catch.
Good job by Ed McCaffrey.
Yeah, I think Ed McCaffrey was a little surprised he caught it. His first reaction. I didn't think it was that close.
Well, the celebration has begun here in Baltimore. And for the Broncos, a long ride home.
But I was just going to say, Greg, in this atmosphere, when you got teams that can play defense, and you know it could be low scoring, tough to move the football, a tight end is really important to your offense, and especially to a quarterback. It really is like a relief valve. I mean, look, he's the closest guy to you usually. He's over the middle, big target, working against linebackers. Let's watch the catch.
McCaffrey with his hands under the football.
I don't see anything to even think that this is not a completion. Watch.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Meanwhile, Larry Nemmers continues to look at it from a couple of different angles. And, you know, we were speculating with Shannon Sharpe about this face-off with Bill Romanowski and just how much talking is going to be done. And, of course, Bill Romanowski does his fair share of talking on the field as well. What did Shannon say? I'm the CEO of trash talking. Romo's only a vice president.
Yeah, that's right. They, of course, practice against each other so many times.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. The catch was good. The ball did not hit the ground. First down, Denver.
Ed McCaffrey, 7 catches for 60 yards now on the day. There's Bill Romanowski.
And they practice against each other for so many years in Denver, and Shannon Sharpe was saying they always used to have this argument. Bill Romanowski says, I can cover you one-on-one, Shannon. Shannon says, there is no way We didn't really get a chance to see that today. I never saw the two of them matched up man-to-man once.
Jackson throws far side, incomplete. Intended for number 88, Desmond Ryan Greasy, who will undergo shoulder surgery.
Yeah, you know, I'm so glad he didn't get in the game today. We talked to him last night, and, you know, it didn't sound good when he was just talking about his shoulder. I know his father's sitting at home glad he didn't get in this game either.
Jackson goes down at the 22. There is Brian Greasy, who had right shoulder surgery in January. He tore cartilage against Oakland on the 17th. He missed a total of 6 games this season. It has been rough for him.
Yeah, and he got in the game last week and got hurt by Brinson Buckner, I think the 5th play of the game, and just not well enough to play this week.
Jackson throws this side. It is complete across the 35 to the 37-yard line. And the clock continues to move. 20 seconds.
That was Calvin Hill talking to Art Modell.
4th and 5. Jackson this side. McCaffrey incomplete. Stops the clock with 8 seconds left. And the ball will go over on downs. Chris McAllister, who has been in Ed McCaffrey's face all season long, all day long. And there's Tony Siragusa adding his 2 cents worth on the sideline. What a physical war out here this afternoon. Congratulations on the sidelines as the Ravens defense comes off. Here is the Gatorade. It looks primed. You know what? It's probably frozen.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I don't think the Ravens will do the Gatorade thing. Well, let me. Uh-oh, I talked too soon. I see Tony Siragusa.
And Rob Burnett.
Rob Burnett, watch out here.
Oh,
no,
Tony.
Look. Brian Billick says, nope. I just saw Brian Billick turn around and say, don't even think about it.
I don't think he's got a choice in the matter.
Oh, he took it like, well, he took it. Didn't want to. That's right.
That play ends it. Brian Billick and the Baltimore Ravens with a playoff victory over Mike Shanahan and the Denver Broncos. And from start to finish, the Baltimore defense dominated. Once again, our final score, Baltimore 21 and Denver 3.